Welcome to Word on the Cloud, where we talk about what was, what is, and what could be. My name's Aiko. I'm your host. Hey, I hope everyone's doing all right out there. I'm recording this on Friday, December 3rd. Happy December, everyone. Let me see, what did I do this week? I drank my weight in eggnog for sure. I also had to remind myself multiple times that I had a podcast. I think the last time I recorded was on the 22nd, and it was a day after I had posted an episode, and that was the earliest I think I had ever recorded. So it's been a minute. I also had another driving lesson. I only got yelled at a couple times this time by the instructor, but not in a mean way, more in a I want you to learn this as best as you can way. Of course, when I was doing good, they would confirm that and tell me I was doing a great job. So I didn't mind, overall. Other than that, this week's been one spent at home watching Dragon Ball, watching the original series right now. I think it's very cute and funny, watching in Japanese. But yeah, that's really it. Just chilling for the most part. Let me know how your week's going because I'd love to hear about it. But on to this week's episode. One of my lovely friends had suggested a topic for a podcast back when I had released my first podcast. I'd actually shown her and my boyfriend the audio before I released it, which if you're listening, I appreciate your feedback and ideas. And she had brought up the topic of rumination. And what rumination is basically repetitive thoughts, typically about a problem or a situation, and dwelling on those things so much so that it may affect your ability to do everyday things. So an example would be, maybe you keep thinking about something that happened in your past, and you're very fixated on it, trying to find some peace with it. But you can't let it go, and it affects your day-to-day ability to focus, not allowing you to show up for yourself 100%. And that's more than likely going to keep you in a limiting space. Lately, I realized how much I tend to think the same thoughts, typically about my past and how I wish things would have been different, thinking I would have been different as a result. But that takes away from the present. Things weren't different. And who's to say that I would have been any better if they were? We can only imagine what that other world would have been like. So it seems rather unproductive when you think about it. But it can be easy to get wrapped up in these things because we feel them. They took some emotional toll on us, however large or small that was. There's some line in an article that said that when you're recalling something, your brain can't tell the difference in the emotional aspect of the recalled memory and your present moment. So you feel it as if the event were actually taking place. And isn't that miserable? Basically reliving the same moment rather than taking hold of this moment where and now and making something better. Rumination is commonly linked with depression and anxiety, and it makes sense. Naturally, if we're constantly thinking of times where things didn't go as we hoped, or we didn't give something our all, we're going to feel a certain way about ourselves, and it's not going to be positive. There's a survey done by a Yale psychologist, Susan Nolan Hoxham. She did this with 1,300 people, ages 25 to 75, and has found that ruminators were 4 times more likely to develop major depression than non-ruminators. And since we're sitting in these thoughts, it also has the power to keep us in this low state for longer, making it harder to find a way out. It is also found that women are twice as likely to be depressed, and it's believed this may be because women tend to ruminate more. There was also a Canadian study where they found that students with higher levels of depression or anxiety were taking part in ruminating behaviors. And it's normal to have the same thought come up a few times. What makes the difference is what you do about it. Ruminating tends to offer no solution because we're just focused on the negative. So, let's focus on some positive things we can do. Here are a few tips I have to help bring you back to the present moment. You're welcome to try all of them, some of them, none of them even, up to you. If you do take something from this, I hope you all the best. If you don't, same deal. So, tip number 1, forgive yourself. Yeah, we're starting there. And it's crazy because most of the work to solve a decent amount of our issues is mental. Once you recognize that, I think it'll be a lot easier to deal with things. But truly forgive yourself. And to forgive means to stop holding anger and resentment towards something. When we don't forgive ourselves, we just stay in place. We become that meme where the dog is sitting in the flames saying, "This is fine." We're just allowing the problem to engulf us because we can't let go of that person that we were in that moment. And then we think we'll be that guy forever, but we learn and we grow and we have the power to make new decisions and say different things, resulting in whatever we make it. So forgive yourself and give yourself better next time. My second tip, meditate. What we're trying to accomplish here is being able to be in a calm and mentally clear state. And it doesn't have to be anything extravagant, but you want to be consistent. Habitual meditation helps with stress, helps with anxiety. It was found in an 8-week study that it reduced the inflammation response caused by stress in the body. So when we get stressed, there's increased amounts of the stress hormone, cortisol, and this contributes to the release of inflammatory chemicals. And when these chemicals are released, their effects can disrupt sleep, promote depression and anxiety, increase your blood pressure. So meditation helps bring our stress down, so there's less of a chance of that happening. Meditation also helps you to be mindful of the present moment because all you're doing in that moment is being. Allowing your thoughts to pass by like clouds in the sky, and not attaching to one, but being able to stay in the present moment as they roll by. Guided meditations exist. Just sitting, breathing in a peaceful space for a set amount of time each day is fine as well. Find what works for you and truly allow yourself to take that time. Wrapping into that, yoga is also something that I recommend. Personally, I do a yin yoga routine through Yoga with Cassandra on YouTube. Yin yoga is a little slower pace. You hold each pose longer. But I've noticed with consistency, and that being twice a day, once in the morning and once at night, that I would be in a way better mood because I took the time to do a little physical activity, and my body thanked me for it. And that also contributed to a better mental space. It's said that regular yoga practice creates mental clarity and relieves chronic stress patterns. And we're in a more relaxed mind, able to focus better, able to pay attention, because our mind isn't all over the place. Yoga to me is another form of meditation. Of course, any physical activity is beneficial, even just walking. So again, find what works for you, read up on the benefits, and stay consistent. My next tip is to work on your self-esteem, and I know that's going to be tough. We're our toughest critics. But if you're constantly being harsh on yourself and holding this image of you as someone who may be inadequate because maybe you didn't do that one thing that you said you were going to do by age whatever, you're going to be that person that didn't do anything by age whatever. You know what I'm saying? So your self-esteem improves with you. It improves as you get out there and do things, building your confidence in your abilities, whether it's talking to people or being able to navigate through this world. If we build ourselves up, who we were won't weigh so heavy on us because we became better. We have more trust, more confidence in the person we are now, and as a result can make choices from a better place because we're not down. And this is coming from me. Have faith in yourself. You have lots of power, even if you don't see it, so build yourself up. You're a great person who can build great things. You just gotta believe that. My 5th tip is to have a routine, something that keeps you going. Set goals into the routine. You'll have less time to dwell on things and feel productive. And routines don't have to be anything go-getter billionaire approved. Something as simple as doing yoga in the morning, alongside making breakfast and writing a little, is a decent way to start off a day. Before I would start work, that was my typical routine. I felt loose and relaxed before starting work. I was full. And I had some thoughts out of my head and cleared before I took on the mental work of work. Then after, I would unwind, make dinner, and clean up my space for the night before bed, clearing away the day to start fresh the next. Of course, your routine doesn't have to look like mine, but incorporate things that you can do that will make you feel good while being able to get what you need done. Next tip I have for you is to be objective towards your life for a second or two. Objective means not involving any personal feeling or opinion, and that can be hard because our life can very much feel like that's all it is, because those things are strong within us. But truly take that out for a second and look at the reality of things. I think of times where something could have been avoided if I would have just taken a few seconds to realize that the sky wasn't falling. I'm very grateful to be where I am now, but I can still get in my feelings sometimes. From the inside, I'm a little stressed, worried, unsure of where life is going. But if I step outside of that, I see someone who has opportunities that are there before them. I see someone who doesn't know what's coming, but that's part of the journey, and it shouldn't be scary, because at one point there was so much more unknowns. So really take the emotions out of it, take your personal opinions out of it, and when you're left with the bare bones, bare structure of what you have, what can you do with it? You only have one life, YOLO, that we know of, and to spend it thinking about something that happened that makes you feel negative, any less than, while the days are still coming, still going, is insane. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, or thinking the same thought over and over, and expecting that it'll magically change to what we want it to be. But I want to let you know that it's never going to. Something that's over with is going to be what it was, but you don't have to be. We're ever changing and one of a kind all at once, and I think that's pretty cool. So make some peace with yourself and for yourself. Maybe instead of being present in the past, you'll find a present in the past. Do with this information what you will. Do want to thank you for sharing your time and energy with me, and I'll talk to you again soon. Later.